Hello, and today we're doing an FPL preview for game week 26. It's the double game week and it's the biggest in FPL history. 14 teams have a double. It's incredible. It is the biggest turning point. Possibly could make my season or could break my season. We've just got to hope in this unpredictable season that it goes right this time, big time. We need 125 pointers, 135 pointers. Come on, now is the time. So we're going to get into the transfers we've made, and we're going to go into captaincy, if we're playing any chips. We'll go through all of that lovely stuff in this very video. So before we continue, smash a like on the video, share with your mates, and spread the FPL word about my team, Why Do I Never Win, which is ranked right now very, very nicely at 232,533. Overall points 1570, and we got ourselves a solid score last week of 82. But we know we can get triple digits. We can get much better this week because it's such a big game week. So yeah, and it's going to be interesting, of course. The fixtures this week are looking quite saucy. Man City versus West Ham, West Brom Brighton, Leeds up against Aston Villa. Of course, that's Jack Grealish-less Aston Villa. Newcastle versus Wolves, Palace Fulham, Leicester Arsenal, Spurs take on Burnley, Chelsea Man United, Sheffield United Liverpool. That's all on Sunday, starting from that game at the King Power. Everton versus Southampton. Starting with the game at the Selhurst Park. Everton Southampton. Then City Wolves, Burnley Leicester, Sheffield Aston Villa, Palace Man United, Fulham Spurs, West Brom Everton, and Liverpool Chelsea. So many games, ranging all the way from the 27th of February until the 4th of March, Thursday, 2021. So it's now or never, people. Dun-dun-dun-dun. It's the final countdown. We simply have to do well this week. It is as simple as that, my friends. And if we don't, we could be in trouble this season. It genuinely just feels like a turning point. If we can't smash out the park this week, then we might be in trouble. But if we can be on the road to redemption, the road to a comeback, and we can push into that top 100k. It would be amazing. So, let me talk you through my team for this week. Now, off the back of a very good week, I didn't want to change much, but when the double comes around, you just want the double players. So, I've got quite a few of those. Let's start off in goal. So who are we going to have between the sticks this week? It is Edouard Mendy. Now, on paper, you'd say, yes, Man United and Liverpool, not ideal fixtures for the double. But I got Mendy for a long-term plan, and I got him all the way back in the last double game week, that was game week 19. He absolutely did bits for me in that double game week. Really good against Fulham, unfortunate against Leicester. But these two games, Man United, Chelsea v Man United, in the reverse fixture it was 0-0. And to be fair, Chelsea defensively have really shored up. So that could easily be 0-0 again. If not, we've got the Liverpool game. Now, Liverpool have not been scoring at Anfield, and Chelsea defensively have improved. So it might look like it's a tough couple of games, but actually it could be perfect for Mendy. If not, then it doesn't matter, because ultimately, let me reveal to you that this week, I'm doing the bench boost. That's right, we've revealed it. That's the chip. So, if we don't get the clean sheet points, we've always got our second goalie, the legend that is Robert Sanchez, with a lovely fixture against West Brom. There was no way I was going to take him out for that fixture, because there's a chance with just that single game week you can even get more than Mendy. So, he's on my bench. He's getting the bench boost for that fixture versus West Brom, but we'll get to that in a second. So, basically, Mendy is playing Man United and Liverpool. Maybe some save points in there. We'll see how we go. But it's two games. And as I said, Chelsea have really improved under Thomas Tuchel. So I'm happy with that one. Come on, Edouard. You got dropped against Newcastle, which was not ideal. Please play both games. Kepa, just get away. Like, he's terrible. And ultimately, I think Mendy is probably still the only Chelsea player of all of them, the least likely to get rotated again. With a defender or a forward, you just don't know who's going to play. But Mendy has been very, very good this season. The signing coming in from Lille, I do believe. But that is my goalkeeper. In my back four, we've got some doubles galore. And amazingly, for Manchester City, 2 home games in this game week and in the next double for game week 27. So, first of all, we've got Ruben Diaz. What a player. Absolute legend. He is just so good. Gets bonus points every week. That partnership has been amazing, and he's been a great signing from Benfica. So strong, so authoritative. 7-pointer against Arsenal last week for me. That was lovely. And hopefully he can get his first Manchester City goal against West Ham and Wolves. Now, Wolves are one of the teams actually that have struggled from set pieces. So watch out for that. Could happen. But ultimately, I'm very happy with you, Ruben Diaz. He's just been so consistent. 107 points. And he's actually one of the most owned defenders in the game. And I don't think that that's a surprise when he's been playing so well. West Ham at home might be a slightly tough game. West Ham have, surprised the odds against good teams this season, beaten Spurs, got a point with Man City in the reverse fixture. But with Ruben Diaz, he could always get the attack and return, and Man City generally have been quite good going forward. Let's hope for something there. And then Wolves, Wolves have been pretty shy of goals recently. They've got the odd upset against, Arsenal and, earlier on in the season, I think they got a win against Chelsea. So they can do it, but Man City at home, you just fancy them to get a fairly comfortable win there. So could be another clean sheet for Ruben Diaz. That could be lovely. And the same story goes for John Stones. Now, what a legend he is. 27-pointer in the last double game week. Please, more of the same. He did get benched last week, which I kind of regretted. Imagine if I'd have played him over, the likes of Ben Mee. Well, that only would have been 1 point gain. But if I dropped Gundawan for Stones or dropped Salah for Stones, something like that. But ultimately, it was a tough game. I just went with one defender, and Diaz did actually outscore Stones, so it worked out well. But Stones is just a man that you've just got to keep playing. He's a pillar of consistency, and I'm not going to bench him ever again, all right? He's that good, and he also has attacking returns. Actually, scored more goals than Diaz this season. Scored a lovely finish against Palace, the header. Can he do it again? As I mentioned, Wolves very bad from set pieces, and I think that he could have a decent side, a decent go of it against West Ham to hopefully get some more goals for his team. So Ruben Diaz and Stones, the perfect pairing, and the Man City double up with 4 games in the next 2 game weeks, all at home, and they're the best defence in the league. Surely. Now we've got the new signing. That is Eric Dier. Now you might think, that sounds pretty dire. That sounds pretty boring. But listen to this. Now, Eric Dier has been nailed on in that team. He has been playing the last 2 games, and then there was a period from game week 20 all the way since game week 6 that he never got dropped. Mourinho likes Eric Dier. He really does. He likes his commitment. He likes his toughness. And he just battles away in that team. He gets the odd yellow card, I'll admit. But he does equal it out with some very nice blocking, which gives, of course, the chances for bonus points. And he's on free kicks. So you never know. He was brought up in Portugal. You never know if he just one day feels like doing a Ronaldo special, bending in a free kick against, Burnley. That would be lovely. Obviously, the chances are it doesn't happen, but we're getting Dier for that double game week with 2 lovely games. Now, ultimately, with Spurs, there's been such a big hype this week about their attacking players. People triple captaining our Harry Kane, captaining Son, bringing in Kane, and I just didn't agree with that because Spurs have just been so dodgy. I mean, they could easily prove me wrong, and, fair play if Spurs do well this week. I could have done it. I could have brought in one of their players. But I'm more comfortable to bet on Spurs keeping a clean sheet in this double game week and those fixtures. Now, Burnley are a team we know can frustrate. And we saw it in the reverse fixture. Spurs only won 1-0 and it was a bit of a jammy knock-on goal for Son from a corner. So ultimately, Burnley will frustrate. Nick Pope has been a brilliant player this season for Burnley, and Burnley just seem to sometimes defy the odds. But going forward, Chris Wood is still out, as far as I'm aware, so that takes away their main threat. And ultimately, Burnley don't score a lot of goals. Eric Dier surely gets a clean sheet in that home game. Now, the away game against Fulham, maybe Fulham score there, because Fulham have been quite good recently, and actually they've been gathering momentum. They're trying to stay up, so maybe there we see a chance for Fulham to score. But again, with Dier, he's on free kicks, and he could take the odd corner. You never know, and maybe just wins a header in there and gets a goal. Who knows? But the main thing is he has two very, very nice games that you would bet clean sheets on. Now, originally it was Ben Mee that was in his position. And it's ironic because Spurs are playing against Burnley. So we'll see who gets the spoils between Dier and Mee in that game, of course, that is on Sunday. But basically, Ben Mee had fixtures against Spurs and Leicester City. Two games that I wouldn't have said clean sheets in. And Ben Mee has just not been on it. He's not scored enough goals this season for my liking. Just the one against, I think, Sheffield United. And I don't fancy Burnley for those goals against the likes of Spurs and Leicester. They're just such much better defences. So I thought, actually, turning it around, which defence do I really want to jump on this week? And, Spurs is just looking so tempting this week. So Ben Mee had to go out. It was an unfortunate one because we brought him in for that double against the likes of Fulham and against the other team was Crystal Palace. He didn't play the Fulham game due to percussion protocols. I keep saying concussion protocols. It's not an instrument, but hopefully Dier can play the right tune this week. And as a new signing, I think he will at least get the minimum required. 2 clean sheets, 12 points. That is lovely for a new transfer coming in. The next defender on our agenda, so we're playing a 4-4-2 formation. It's in the fourth defender spot, Stewart Dallas. What a legend. This guy is literally Lord Lundstrom 2.0 confirmed. He is so good. Plays in midfield, and he might get changed to a midfielder next season. Let's hope not. But I called it at the start of the season. And I remember I was going away for a few days, and I was thinking, right, the season's about to start. We're going to have to try and find a next Lundstrom. Who's that going to be? And I just looked through the teams, the promoted teams, and saw Dallas. And I thought, Stewart Dallas plays in midfield. He's the next Lundstrom. And I called it there, and I've stuck to it. I got Dallas in early doors, and look what he's done. He's done the bit. The first goal I'll always remember against Leicester. Whether it was a fluke or not, you can argue it, but I think it was genius from Dallas to score that free kick against Leicester. And then he did it again in the reverse fixture against Leicester. But unfortunately, that was the 1 week only that we didn't play him. And from now on to the rest of the season, I pledge to always play him because he's just engraved his legacy in this team. So good. 17-pointer in the last double game week. He's not got a double game week this time, but you want to keep the Leeds players because they play in the blank game week 29. And a game against Aston Villa without Jack Grealish, maybe there's a chance for a Dallas clean sheet. Leeds clean sheets are hard to come by, but with Dallas, he's got the attacking potential to basically cancel it all out and just get points galore. So hopefully more of the same there from Stewart. Now in midfield, we have Rafinha, my second starting 11 player with only a single game week. But you shouldn't overlook the single game weekers. Obviously, you want to have the majority of double game week players, but single game weekers can do it too, And Rafinha has been absolutely quality. We brought him in last week. What a free kick against Southampton. Absolutely brilliant. And also, the celebration was really, really nice touch in memory of Calvin Phillips, Granny Val. Lovely celebration. He did get the yellow, of course, for the taking off the shirt, but, it was a good cause and such a good free kick. And Rafinha is just looking so involved in that Leeds team, and he gets the points for the clean sheets, he gets the points for the assists, and scores goals. Very, very nice transfer in. Even if it was for Rodriguez, who, got the assist against against Liverpool. long term, do I want Rodriguez? Maybe not, because Everton can be a bit up and down. They do have a good double game week, which is why I've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But Rafinha does play in 29 and Rodriguez doesn't. So it makes sense. And we did really get the rewards of his double game week last week was Rafinha. So yeah, what an absolute legend. Hopefully he can do the bits this week against Aston Villa, who are of course without Matty Cash. So that will be interesting to see how they can get on. I think Villa recently have dropped off a little bit, and those absences, Grealish and Cash, will play a big role, and I fear for Villa at the minute. So I think Rafinha can really wreak havoc this week and could be a very good shout as a single game week player. Then we move on to Bruno Fernandes. 2 games against Chelsea and Crystal Palace. Now you might say that Chelsea game is a tough one. Probably is, to be fair. But Bruno Fernandes is Bruno Fernandes. Like, he can still do well. He's still been one of the best midfielders in the game for a reason. He's Mr. Consistent. And Chelsea, ultimately, it would be nice for me if Mendy got the clean sheet. But if not, and if any man for Man United does the bits, hopefully it's Bruno. And hopefully he does this double in style. Because, the game against Palace, you really look at and think there's points there. Definitely. Palace have been defensively really woeful. They, of course, got the smash and grab against Brighton. But recently they have been pretty bad going forward. I mean, they could concede the odd goal, Man United, but I do fancy Man United to score the goals. That's where they've been really doing well this season. And with Bruno, he gets moments out of magic. The goal against West Brom, he just wrapped his foot around it. Excellent volley into the far corner. And Palace have just conceded too many this season. So Bruno will want to carry on that. With Bruno, the appeal from him with that penalty, he can always just get a 3 bonuser and a big haul. Bruno is the big haul guy and the man to trust, really. And he scored an amazing 12 points last week against Newcastle, despite getting a booking in that game. So, yeah, he's one to watch, certainly. Then we've got Ilkai Gundawan. Now, Gundawan, this guy is a bit of a legend, it's got to be said. He's just been so consistent. That Man City team is looking amazing. Now, I would prefer to have the double Man City defence than the double Man City midfield. And the reason behind that, we don't know that people like Sterling are going to play. And we do know that people like Diaz are going to play. Now, at one point I thought, do I go from Stones, get him out and get in Edison? Because you never know, even he could take a penalty. We don't know if Gundawan is nailed on with the penalties. There was talk about Rodri and he took that one against Spurs. But Gundawan, whether De Bruyne comes in and whether the penalties are off him, he's still a good option. What you've got to remember is even when De Bruyne was out injured and, not in the team, Gundawan was doing well. But he actually had the form, Gundawan, whilst KDB was fit before he actually did get ruled out. So Gundawan can adapt to that role. It depends what Pep does. We never know what Pep does. But ultimately, Gundawan is such a big part of that Man City team. The way they tick, the way they play, the way they score goals. And Gundawan has just been on fire. So, yeah, he's one that I think I just want to keep. Just a set and forget. Hold him for these games against West Ham. West Ham, obviously, on their day can be leaky, but on their day can also cause a few issues and frustrate Manchester City. But Phil Foden, obviously, was the man who got the goal in the reverse fixture. Gundawan could be the man this week. And then Wolves at home is another nice fixture. They generally do struggle to stop goals going in. Gundawan has really filled the void of Kevin De Bruyne. If De Bruyne is back and getting goals, I don't think Gundawan will be massively impacted by that. He's still a very good, solid player. He's really stepped up and filled those shoes. All right, now we've got our last midfield spot of the starting 11. It's Mohammed Salah. Now, he's been basically talking and, well, he's made a lot of FPL managers talk about him because Liverpool have had a bit of a nightmare defence of their title, it's got to be said. They haven't been scoring goals, especially at home, but they do have a game against Sheffield United, which is very, very nice indeed, and then a game against Chelsea. Now, Salah does often score against his former team, Chelsea, so just keep that in mind before you make any rash decisions. Now, at one point I was thinking Heung-min Son, maybe we bring him in for Salah, but Salah yes, he's not on amazing form, and neither are Liverpool, but he's still Mo Salah. It's such a big player to go and chop out of your team, and I'd rather have Salah, I think, than Son, because Spurs are inconsistent going forward right now. The fixtures point towards Spurs, obviously, but Bruno and Salah are both consistent, high-scoring players, and I just feel that he will come back to bite you if you get rid. Sheffield United away, Salah did really well in the reverse fixture of that game, and was looking really nice. He didn't actually score in that game, but he played really well. And then against Chelsea, of course, he should have really done more. But it was the goals from Sadio Mane that time. And then, obviously, with Bruno, he didn't actually do anything against Crystal Palace. But against Chelsea, he could do more this game week. So you can't look too much into it previous game weeks. But Salah is still the Egyptian king. He's still a big player and still most likely to be one of the best players of the whole season. Maybe not right now because Liverpool are in a bit of a crisis. But Sheffield United, lovely fixture. Chelsea could be tight, but as I said, he always scores against Chelsea. All right, now we've got the front two, and to start off with, this is our second transfer we've made, and it's getting out Danny Ings. And we've brought in Jamie Vardy. That's right, Vardy party, Vardy party. Now, I had him earlier on in the season, and I brought him in for a very, very brief time. And the reason behind that, he had very nice fixtures at that time, though Leicester weren't really feeding it into Vardy that much at that point. So I didn't reap the rewards too much. And there was that one week I remember that I captained Vardy against Newcastle. And he probably would have scored on another alternative, circumstance. But this time I got unlucky and he only got an assist. At least he returned, got 10 points against the Toon Army. But this week he's got a double. And he's got a double against the team he always scores against. And that is Arsenal. Now, obviously, it's interesting with Arsenal. Their form has improved. And, they got the massive win in the Europa League against my beloved Benfica. We won't talk about that. But the point is, with Arsenal, they are still leaky, aren't they? They still have defensive problems. Leicester are chasing top four. They've got a lot of motive to go for this game. And they, of course, won the reverse fixture. And guess who popped up with a winner? Jamie Vardy. He just always scores against them. So that was part of my thinking. And transferred out Danny Ings. It's so unfortunate. That was going to be a fairy tale, but it just unfortunately ended sadly. We brought him in last week. He was going to hopefully shine against Leeds and against Chelsea, but Chelsea were solid. Mendy didn't keep a clean sheet, but still Chelsea were solid. They restricted a lot of Southampton's chances. Minamino was the only man to make a difference. And again, against Leeds, Southampton just didn't turn up at all. And though it was good to see those Dallas clean sheet points, then Ings doesn't start. He gets benched for Che Adams, which is absolutely ridiculous. As much as I rate Che Adams, you just can't be dropping Ings. So I had a word with Hasenhüttl. He's severely apologised. And we've moved on from the subject. So he's gone. Danny Ings is gone. No, really, I didn't talk to him. I'm just saying I did. But maybe I did. Leave it to you to decide. But anyway, Jamie Vardy has also got Burnley this week. Now, Burnley, say what you like, they are a defensively frustrating team. But Jamie Vardy, it's Jamie Vardy. He can score against anyone. And I said, didn't I, that after game week 24, I decided I want to go with form over fixtures. Now, Vardy has been in pretty decent form as of late. Got a goal and an assist in his last two games. And Burnley, man, that's a great a chance of a goal. And generally, I think that there wasn't a better premium forward to replace Ings than Vardy. I could have got Kane, but then I would have had to rip up my team structure, and I didn't want to do that. And plus, I know a few other opponents that have Kane, so it just didn't make sense. And if I had Kane, then I would 100% maybe captain him this week. But I didn't have Kane, and I didn't want to force him in. And also, one thing to remember is that Leicester are looking a great team this season. Spurs maybe not so consistent, but Leicester pretty good. Obviously, the injury to Maddison might hurt them, but I still think that Vardy and Barnes can link up so well, and Vardy is lethal. So he's my second transfer in to make the -4 this week. So yeah, it's a very nice one. And I'm hoping he does the bits against Burnley and Arsenal, respectively. And also with Arsenal, one thing to remember is they've got some players from injury, so they might not be playing their perfect defence. You know, we've got people like Holding that had to come off. And fair play, Rob Holding was the first player to be used as a concussion substitute last time out. So that's a bit of history there. But I think Vardy will basically prey on those mishaps and missing players. Let's see if Vardy can do it this week. And Vardy's one that I just want to hold. Even if I get frustrated with him this week, he stays. And we keep him for the long haul, basically. All right, and then we've got our next forward, and it is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. What a couple of duo fixtures, a combo fixtures of double game week this week it is. It is brilliant. Now, Everton actually, they're a tough team to call. From one week to the next, they can beat Liverpool and then they can lose to Fulham. So there is a little bit of a worry about that. But Calvert-Lewin is still Calvert-Lewin. He scores against anyone. And he did so well for me off the bench in the game against Liverpool. Get the assist. You love to see that. And it was just really encouraging to see. Now, interestingly enough, I didn't have Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the double game week back in, I think it was January that the double game week was. So Everton that week obviously did play their game with nobody. So I couldn't have Calvert-Lewin really if I wanted to. The point is, Calvert-Lewin has got 2 games this week, which is much, much nicer. And they're 2 very nice games. Southampton, who have been absolutely horrendous this season. They've been all over the ropes defensively. And then West Brom. West Brom at the Hawthorns. West Brom are terrible at home. And Calvert-Lewin scored a hat-trick in the reverse fixture. So he could do it again. But as I said, Everton inconsistent. We don't know if Dier and Rodriguez, if they kind of aren't on form, then there isn't the supply for Calvert-Lewin. He struggles to make goals himself. But if Everton are on form and ticking, then Calvert-Lewin will be getting points, I'm sure of it. So that is my first 11 confirmed. But as we mentioned, we're doing the cheeky little bench boost this week. So what is my bench? Now, I think anyone doing a bench boost, you have to have a stacked enough bench. It's as simple as that. Because otherwise it's a waste. You just need to build up your team until it's good enough to have that bench boost. And I think when you do a double game week bench boost, you want to have at least one, preferably, that has on your bench a double fixture. And that's what we've got. So, Sanchez in goal. Lovely fixture against West Brom. You know, we mentioned him briefly earlier, but with West Brom, they just struggle for goals. Maybe the likes of Diagne and, Mateus Pereira could do well. But ultimately, Sanchez has been amazing. Brighton defensively have been very consistent. Apart from that Palace game, Palace did have 2 shots, and I think both of them were goals. So ultimately, West Brom will struggle, I think, to score here. And Sanchez could really be one of the high scorers of single game week players. And then first on our bench, we've gone with the man that's in the team of the season. You're thinking, hang on, how's he afforded this team then? But he's done it. He's gone and done it. So, we've got Patrick Bamford as first sub. Now, most people will, if they have Bamford, be playing them this week. A couple I've seen actually have transferred out Bamford, which is bold. Bold move, all right? Because he plays in 29 and he's absolutely class. Did a brilliant job as my captain last week and faces Aston Villa, a team without Matty Cash. And in the double game week, he's usually quite good. He didn't, obviously, have a double game week this week, but it's still Aston Villa. And he's at home. He usually does better at home, I think, as far as I'm aware. But what's interesting in terms of away from home, he scored a hat-trick in this game as well, in the reverse fixture. So just watch out for Bamford. He could be a big, big shout this week. So as a first sub off the bench, it's not a bad one. And I wouldn't want to bench Bamford if I wasn't doing the bench boost. But I am, so he's going to get me hopefully some big points on that bench. Then second on our bench, you weren't expecting this, but we made another transfer. So that means this week it's a -8 hit. Locked in. Now you're thinking, -8? Pipe down. What are you doing, mate? Well, the reason I've done that, I wanted double players. So I've now got confirmed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. 10 double players. That is absolutely world class. So hopefully that will do us the business. You know, ultimately, the double is all about getting points, and that's what I want to do, basically. So we went with Barnes because he had 2 fixtures. Grealish had to go. Barnes came in. Barnes is in barnstorming form. And just like I said with Vardy, those fixtures are pretty nice. Barnes obviously did very well in the reverse fixture with Burnley. Grabbed 2 goals for himself. And if I'm right in thinking, did he used to play for Burnley? Or is that just a figment of my imagination? No, sorry, he used to play for West Brom. But he's got West Brom later on in the season. But the point is, this is a very nice double game week, and it's nice to have your new transfer in on the bench to be the impact man that wouldn't have usually played without the bench boost. So hopefully he does the bits. Harvey Barnes, he always usually scores the equaliser, but hopefully he gets the winner in both of these and gets some big points for me. So yeah, it's just the form he's been putting in recently I can't ignore, and I had to get Grealish out because he's going to be ruled out. And then our final player on the bench boost for third is Cresswell. It's, of course, the defender that is, I was about to say midfielder, but it kind of feels like he is it sometimes because he's so attacking, gets so many assists from crosses. Aaron Cresswell. And I was going to sell him, to be fair, up to this point, but I thought, nah, hold fire, because I tell you why. West Ham play in 29, and they play Arsenal. You could say, oh, it's a tough game. But Cresswell, he can get points against anyone. And, you know, he's just been brilliant this season. He's been such a joy to own. And yes, he's playing Man City this week, but why not? You know, Cresswell can just do anything, regardless of fixture. And, you know, Man City did actually get shocked by West Ham in the reverse fixture. So we could see another one here, if that is the case, and if Gundawan, Stones, Diaz, etc. do fail to deliver. If Man City, you know, shock forbid me, but if Man City don't score, Cresswell gets me an assist. So, a clean sheet. So, yeah, he's a great player to have, and he only got 1 game, but with Cresswell, he can assist anytime. So that is my team locked in for game week 26. The double game week, we've gone with a bench boost, and that is my 3 transfers. It's, of course, Eric Dier in for Ben Mee. It's, of course, Vardy in for Danny Ings, and it is Harvey Barnes in for Jack Grealish. So one of them enforced with Grealish, the other about fixtures, really. I know I said form over fixtures, but blah, blah, blah. The point is, Ben Mee wasn't an attractive option. He let me down, and he had to go. Dier is looking attractive with those nice couple of fixtures. And then, of course, Vardy. It had to be done. I didn't have a double player for Ings for this week for the forward option. Now I've got it. So that is my team. That is pretty much everything covered. The only thing now to do is captaincy. Now, at times this weekend, I've been a bit unsure. It's got to be said. I've been umming and ahhing. Do I do, you know, Gundawan? Do I do Salah? Do I do Vardy? There's so many options. And at one point, it was on Diaz. I'm not going to lie. It was on Ruben Diaz. Because 2 home fixtures against 2 mid-table teams. I mean, you say West Ham mid-table. They're probably not. But the point is, Man City defence is pretty impenetrable. But what are we going to do? It's a good question. Now, a lot of people this week are obviously captaining Harry Kane. I don't own Harry Kane. So then the next option is most likely Bruno Fernandes. But do we go with it? Do we? Because he's playing Chelsea. That might be a tight game. You know, it probably will be 0-0. And then Palace, good fixture. But Gundawan has got West Ham and Wolves, 2 home games. And then Calvert-Lewin, Southampton, West Brom. Southampton, West Brom is probably the best fixture-wise double game week. But we said form over fixture, didn't we? That's what we said. And you can't find a better man in terms of form than Bruno Fernandes. So part of me thinks get Gundawan as captain. Part of me thinks Bruno. Part of me thinks DCL. So I'll decide in a second. But first, who are we going to vice-captain? It's tough. It really is tough. I'm going to say Calvert-Lewin. All right? Because say if one of my midfield options that I probably will captain doesn't play, then Calvert-Lewin has got perfect fixtures to basically back it up. And I'm always a bit, you know, unwilling to captain a forward. They just don't get the extra points for a goal. They don't get the clean sheet, etc., etc. So we're going to vice-captain instead, because Calvert-Lewin is probably the best forward option for the captaincy along with Kane. Vardy's still a good option, but, you know, we don't know if he's going to get goals straight away. He might take a while, but as I said, it's for the long haul is Jamie. But we're probably going to vice-captain. So vice-captain locked in is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But captaincy, ooh, well, I know that I'll look back on this video like every week, because it's just like Groundhog Day. I'll look back on this video and look and just say, why didn't you choose that player? Why didn't you captain him? And captaincy is tough this season. But our final verdict, Bruno Fernandes. All right? Chelsea might be on paper tough, but you never know. He got an assist against them a couple of seasons back from a corner. And, you know, he's got pens, of course. And Palace, great fixture. So we're going with Bruno as captain. Thanks for watching. I shall see you next time. It's a massive double game week, boys and girls. Wish me luck. Come on. We've got a lovely lineup. Mendy, Diaz, Stones, Dier, Dallas, Rafinha, Bruno, Cap, Gundawan, Salah, Vardy, DCL Vice, Sanchez, Bamford, Barnes, Cresswell, all as the bench boost. Let's go get some big points in this monster of a double game week. This is it now. There's no turning back. It's time for the points.